Welcome, one and all. We're back. Yes, it's the Danny and Larry show.
Have you missed us?
Have you missed us? Now, we would have some intro music and stuff like that, but this is going to be broadcast on YouTube as well, and they're very sensitive about certain music or whatever, so as in copyrights. So we won't play any of our usual theme tunes that we have on the podcast, but we can get away with it on our podcasting platform, but not with the YouTubes. But this will be on our podcast as well. So apologies to our podcast listeners. There's no intro music or anything like that. But yeah, maybe we should come up with our own copyrighted intro music. What do you think, Larry?
Oh, compose something.
Yeah, should we compose something? Yeah, or maybe our listeners want to compose something and we'll put that in at the beginning and have different ones each time. So, yes, we're back. We're back. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Oh. Got to be careful what songs we sing. Anyway, hello. Yes, we are back. So we were, for those of you who are not familiar with the Danny and Larry show, we were broadcasting live and uncut from our East London flat, which is where we are right now. Yes. And we were doing,
indeed, yeah.
We were doing a daily podcast during lockdown, and we called it Lockdown Live and Uncut because as this particular podcast is as well, is we don't cut or edit anything out that we say or do. So we are the producers, we are the narrators, we are the presenters, we are all in one. And it's just a one and done because that's how we roll. Yep. But it's a special one, special intro. It's not going to be the full sort of 40, 45 minutes. It'll be a nice short one to the point, and it's a special one because we are both enthusiastic runners, and it was sort of sparked by a story link that I was sent, and we've entitled this one Dear London Marathon Organisers. So maybe somehow this podcast will reach the London Marathon Organisers because there seems to be a bit of a disarray going on, and we apologise in advance to the London Marathon Organisers because we've taken this from a press report in the newspapers, so it may be false. It may be just pure speculation. And the headline sort of caught my eye because I have a London Marathon place for this year. Yes, like all the other thousands, disappointed it was postponed to this October. But the headline was... exclusive London Marathon may not take place again until October 2021. Hello. Wow. So it said organisers, the headline says organisers fear not only will the 2020 edition be cancelled completely. So for those of you who don't know that it was due to run this April, but we had a lockdown. So they cancelled it like all other sporting events and it was postponed to this October. But it looks like they might cancel it completely, which would be a real shame because it's its 40th anniversary. That would be a really shame if it did get cancelled. Yeah. But it may be impossible. This is the thing that really is like the stinger, that it may be impossible to stage the 2021 event in its usual April slot. Hello, what's going on? And as we have to say is the details of the article, it was one of these pay per view type newspapers, so couldn't read it. Yes, it was a Telegraph, and couldn't read it, the details. So based purely on the headline, we think we can help you, London Marathon Organisers, to get the event to happen in October, barring a complete lockdown. We have to stress, if there is a mandatory lockdown brought in, and that happens, then I think, the government steps in and says, no, you can't do anything. Barring that side, the way things are at the current moment, there are sporting events going on all over the world. All over the world. Here in the UK, we've, and here come the puns, we've kick-started the football. The Premier League and various other leagues have kick-started again, so the Premier League and the Championship, and all European, and I think the MLA, the Major League Football, Soccer, MLS, I think it's called, in the US. That's kicked off as well. And so these are all going ahead. They're all happening, but in a very different way. Cricket, I think today, on the Sunday, the first test match between the West Indies and England completed. So that happened. And there's many, the LTA, Lawn Tennis Association, has got competitions going on right now. There has also been various athletic events going on around the world. And we have the, not wrestling, but the fighting on that island in UAE. Oh, what's that type of anyway, they had a fight island. So the point is, the point we're trying to make, you don't follow the fighting, do you, Larry? You're
boxing a little bit.
Yeah, this is a proper anyway. So the point we're making here is events are happening. So why would London Marathon, based on how things are right now, as I say, we are making a assumption that it will be unlocked down as we are now, and events are going ahead. I know of other events going ahead. I think Hamburg Marathon is a perfect example that's going ahead with 10,000, it's limited numbers, 10,000 runners, which still is a lot of people, and they'll be following the strict COVID rules, masks at start, finish, social distancing, and so on and so forth. If London Marathon Organisers, you're stuck and wondering what to do, here's our little punt as well. Both myself and Larry, we can help you out with these changes, because that's what we do. We help organisations change into that. But
we certainly do.
But before going into those, we're not going to give you the solutions, mate, because obviously you guys need to employ us to do that. We're not doing it for free, so get in touch and we can help you organise and have the event, because how could it go? We won't go into the details of how it can go ahead, but what would you like to say, Larry? Because the key thing is there seems to be some inertia of you say what you were saying earlier. Go on. You go ahead.
This came to my attention because I'm not following it directly. I've only run the one marathon myself and haven't. I have dallied with the idea of running London, but not really getting anywhere close to it. But obviously, it's something that's very close to Danny's heart, and so he's picking up on stuff in the media. And as Danny described the problems to me, it struck me that they're problems that are solvable,
solvable.
Or solvable
as well as soluble. Yes,
soluble.
We could dilute them.
We can dilute them.
Dilute the problems. Yep.
Anyway, and
we didn't script that, by the way.
I'm concerned is that the organisers are looking at it through the lens of how the marathon is normally run, and of course it can't be run as it's normally run because of the enormous amount of people involved. That social distancing would be impossible. So I think I'm concerned it's not going ahead because the people involved and organise it are not thinking all the different ways they could, or perhaps they are, but don't find different ways it could be run palatable.
They don't come with the solutions.
But the thing is, it's not to me not that big a decision because it's just for the 1 year, hopefully at the most 2, and then we should be able to revert back to the way the marathon's traditionally been run. Or at least in recent years.
So this is basically just a temporary measure in the same way as the Premier League playing without fans,
exactly.
cricket without fans.
So think of it in those terms. Now we've got many ideas which we'll share with you. Obviously, if you're prepared to bring us, involve us directly. But it's absolutely solvable. If we come at it with a blank sheet of paper and say, okay, how can we run it? Not what are the problems with running it as we're accustomed to.
Yeah.
And I've seen this many times. I work in IT, and I've seen this kind of problem many times before. It's the "this is how we've always done it" syndrome.
Yeah.
And the thing that we do as analysts is sit down with people and just patiently wait until we can, and just keep chipping away until we can get them to see that the best thing to do, because we're at an impasse, we can't do things as they've always been done. Is start with a blank sheet of paper and talk about what can be done and think the unthinkable potentially.
Yeah. Is this the classic, they're trying to put square peg through a round hole?
Yeah.
And the square peg is how the event has always happened, because as I say, we're coming to the 40th anniversary this year, and been doing it for many decades. And we can't run it that way. The sheer volume, over 40,000 runners. New York has over 50,000 runners. It's the biggest by far, whilst Boston has a smaller number of 30,000. Having ran 4 of the marathon majors, all of them are organised very differently.
Yeah.
And I certainly think of all of them, the easiest one to deal with the current pandemic is the way that we were organised at Boston. It worked, and I was surprised that Boston have cancelled it completely, the September one. So maybe there's things going on in the US which is it's a bit crazy bonkers. But again, they were probably thinking 30,000 runners. Yeah, it's not viable.
No.
So, with the square peg round hole for London Marathon is sometimes, as you were quite rightly saying, Larry, is start with the blank sheet and say, what can we do?
Exactly. And there are constraints which perhaps sometimes are unconscious or unwritten, and it maybe takes perhaps somebody coming in from who's not normally involved in the organisation of the marathon might go, well, we can change this. So, for example, it's normally profitable.
Yes.
Okay, maybe this year
you have to make a loss.
It's non-profit. Or it's a loss, or it's a non-profit.
Yeah.
And that may free up all sorts of options which are not available to you if you try to make a profit.
Yes.
Yeah. The profit will come. And if you're playing the long game, the running of the marathon for the long game, for the decades to come, is just as important as, if not more important, than the money you'll make or not
in this year or next year.
Particular event.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really what we have to say, dear London Marathon organisers. We have a whole string of ways in which you can run the event and organise it. But as we say, there's a lot of factors in there which we may not be aware of. And it may have been just pure press speculation that it wouldn't go ahead. Maybe they mean that the current format is cancelled, but something will be going ahead.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I'm sure the city is very keen for it to go ahead.
Absolutely. As I'm sure everybody is. And I think having seen, and for those who were listening to our daily podcast, we used to have a good fun with the sports presenters during lockdown who had nothing to talk about. Yeah. Today, it was great to see the sports presenter talk about all the football matches, the cricket, the test match cricket, the tennis, things that are going on. But every one of those events, there's reporters there. They're all commentating on what's going on in the matches. Yes, there's no fans, but my guess is the real fans are watching it on TV anyway. So,
they've got to get their fix.
There's ways of doing this. And we'd love to help if you need some help. But I'm sure you guys are all capable of it. So good luck, and we hope that it all goes ahead. Thank you so much for listening. And the link, for those of you who are listening this on YouTube, the link to our podcast is in the description. By all means, go to the Danny and Larry Show, because we will now be kickstarting season 2 of our podcast.
Yeah, and you might be able to have a little bit of a giggle.
Yes.
Listen to the old ones.
Yeah, have a listen through the old ones.
I'm sure lots of our pontifications about how the lockdown's going to...
Absolutely. We were pretty...
Don't expect we were right about everything, were we?
No. We were right. We were right on a lot of things, but some of the things we just can't explain. Humankind, really.
No.
Is that some explanations are beyond belief. But yes, thank you all so much for listening. We hope you've found this useful in some way. And as we said, in the kindest of ways and helpfulest ways, dear London Marathon organisers, please do have thoughts on this, and I'm sure you'll find a way through it all. And by all means, give us a call. And who are you going to call? Danny and Larry. Anyway, guys, yes, we do like to have a lot of fun. So we'll see you over on the other side with the Danny and Larry show, which we're calling, what are we calling our new season 2? I think it's the new normal, life in the new normal.
Yep. Oh, I don't know, new normal reboot or something.
Yeah, something along those lines, because everything is very different now. So, yes, thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you soon.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye.